Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
I mean, the technology is great. You know, it's lots of fun, very helpful, makes a lot of things easy. But like anything in the world, there is too much of a good thing, you know? And I think one of the things we don't talk about is what is the balance of technology in our lives. And I would argue that for many of us, it's out of balance. We know that the chemical dopamine is released whenever we get a bing, buzz, flash, or beep from our phone or email, right? So dopamine is the exact same chemical that's released in alcohol, nicotine, and gambling, right? In other words, it can be addictive if left unbalanced. A little alcohol is great. Too much alcohol, not so great. Gambling is fun. Too much gambling, really bad, right? Technology is wonderful. Too much technology can be very destructive and destroy our relationships, like all addictions destroy our relationships, right? And so one thing we're not considering is what is the right balance. If you wake up in the morning and you check your phone before you say good morning to your spouse, that's a problem, right? If you have phantom beeps, that's a problem. That comes from something, right? If you find yourself incapable of getting through a day without needing to check, that's a problem, right? Now, where it gets really dangerous is with kids, millennials. Some of them aren't kids anymore.
Right.
So almost all alcoholics on the planet discovered alcohol when they were children. When we're very, very young, the only thing we need is the approval of our parents. Right? When we go through adolescence, we now need approval from our peers. Frustrating for our parents, very important for us because it allows us to acculturate outside of our immediate families into the larger group, right? Very stressful time, and we're supposed to learn in this time of anxiety to rely on our friends, to reach out to our friends for help. That's what we're supposed to learn. Some people, quite by accident, discover alcohol, and then they learn the numbing effects of dopamine actually help them get through the stress of adolescence. This connection, unfortunately, becomes hardwired. And so for the rest of their lives, when they face any kind of financial, career, or social stress, they don't turn to a person, they turn to the bottle, right? Now, we have age restrictions on alcohol, cigarettes, and gambling, because we know that an immature mind is not yet strong enough or mature enough to deal with the powers of these addicting chemicals, these addictive chemicals, right? So we put an age limit. We have no such age limit or age restriction on social media or cell phones, right? So ostensibly what we've done is we've thrown open the liquor cabinet and we've said to our adolescents, hey, I know this whole adolescent thing is really stressful, so here's the vodka, take as much as you need. That's basically what we've done. And so what we have is an entire generation that's growing up addicted. And like all addicts, they haven't learned the skill set of when they suffer stress to turn to a person. What they do is they turn to the device. And what that only does is increase senses of isolation and loneliness and can actually destroy relationships. We've all had the experience where you're with somebody walking down the street in a meeting, out for dinner, whatever, and they pull out their phone and you feel like an idiot, right? Or when you're talking to them and they're going, and you're sort of like, what's the point of this? Now take an entire generation that has no memory of a time before the device. We at least can reference times before cell phones and internet and social media. We at least have a point of reference. They don't. So this is their normal, but that's how they feel. So you have an entire generation growing up with addiction and an increased sense of loneliness and isolation. We're already seeing the results. We're seeing increased rates of suicide amongst this generation. We're seeing increased rates of accidental deaths due to overdoses amongst this generation. We're seeing increased numbers of mass homicides, largely performed by this generation. School shootings, over 70% perpetrated by kids born after the year 1984. Schools, universities are now dealing with numbers they've never dealt with before of kids requesting leaves of absence due to depression. We're already seeing it, right? We're seeing the effects of loneliness and isolation. We're seeing it, and yet we're not reacting to it. We're not doing anything about it, right? And parents are a lot to blame for this. Because parents, there are some schools who want to restrict phones in schools, and it's the parents who demand that they keep their phones in case of emergencies. Seriously? Seriously? When was the last time the cell phone was used for an emergency? What time are you coming home? What time should we pick you up? And if there is an emergency, you call the office and they know what classroom the kid's in, and in 5 minutes, they'll bring the kid to talk to you on the phone. Like, the old way worked just fine. Remember, we talked before about innovation. It has to solve a real human problem. What human problem exactly did we solve by compressing the 5-minute time frame? We added to the problem. We didn't solve it. So that's one huge problem. So combine that with the fact, so you have an addicted generation that doesn't have the skill set to ask for help. Combined with the fact that they're so good at Facebook and Instagram, they're good at putting filters on everything. So they're good at showing you how smart and strong they are. These kids who commit suicide, you go look at their Instagrams, you would have no clue that they were depressed because they're happy and they're star athletes, right? You'd have no clue because they're really good. So when we say silly things like, my door is always open, you're assuming they have the courage to come in. Combined with the fact that they're subject largely, not all, but too many, to a failed parenting strategy. Because their parents told them they were special, they could have anything they wanted, they could be anything they want. They got medals for coming in last, which by the way we know doesn't work. It devalues the medal for the one who comes in first, and the one who came in last, it makes them feel stupid because they know they didn't deserve it, right? The kids got into honors classes not because they deserved it, but because the parents complained. And some of them got good grades not because they earned them, but because the teachers didn't want to deal with the parents. And then the kids graduate college, and they get a job, and in an instant, they find out they're not special. They don't get anything for coming in last. Their parents can't get them a promotion, and you can't have whatever you want just because you want it. And in an instant, their entire self-image is shattered. And so you have an entire generation growing up with lower self-confidence than previous generations. So you have lower self-confidence than previous generations, combined with an inability to ask for help with things that you're struggling with, and you turn to social media or a device, you keep checking, you count your likes, you count your followers, and if somebody unfriends you, oh my God, it's trauma, right? The way they break up with each other is they just ghost each other, just cut each other out and stop returning texts and returning phone calls, because they don't have the skill set to say, hey, it's not working out, it's not me, it's you, right? There's no closure on things, right? Combined with the fact there's an institutionalized impatience. So they've grown up in a world of instant gratification. You want to buy something, you go on Amazon, it shows up the next day. You want to get in touch with someone, you don't leave a message on their machine and wait 4 hours for them to get the message, you just text them and they get back to you immediately. You want to watch a movie, you just log on and watch it. You don't have to check movie times, right? Everything happens instantly. You want to get a date, swipe right. You don't even have to muster up the courage to go up like, hey, you don't have to. There you go, got a date, right? And so the problem is, they're accused of being entitled. I don't think they're entitled at all. Not at all. I think they're impatient. I keep meeting these fantastic, smart, driven, ambitious, idealistic, fantastic kids who graduated school, they got a job, they want to make an impact in the world, and I go up to them and say, how's it going? And they say, I think I'm going to quit. I'm like, why? They're like, I'm not making an impact. I'm like, you've been here 8 months. And it's as if they see the summit of a mountain. It's as if they're standing at the foot of a mountain and they can see the summit. They can see the thing they want. I want to make an impact. What they don't see is the mountain. This large, immovable object. You can go up fast, you can go up slow, I don't care. But there's still a mountain. What they don't understand is that life, that relationships, and career fulfillment are a journey. There's no app for that. I got nothing. You gotta go through the slow, plodding, annoying, meandering process called career and life.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Through all the things I've gone through in my life, I had a lot of downs. How did I keep the faith? There was a couple of reasons. Number one, I know from living that if you quit whatever you're trying to accomplish, if you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. There's not even a remote possibility. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. Quitting is guaranteed failure. Now, when you're trying, you're going to fail. But quitting, just stopping, that was the number one thing I understood. And then number two, you have to make sure that your dreams, your aspirations and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option. It's just not an option. You have to want something so big that it wakes you up in the middle of the night. You have to want something so big that you think about it all the time. You have to want something so big that it drives you to wake up when you don't want to. It keeps you up at night when you long been sleepy. It makes you show up, do things you wouldn't normally do. It requires extra. If you want to be extraordinary and not ordinary, if you want to be ordinary, live your life. But if you want to be extraordinary, you have to be extra. If you put extra on top of ordinary, that word is extraordinary. It requires an extra effort. If you don't want to do the extra effort, you finna be regular. There's nothing wrong with being regular. A lot of people are happy being regular. I just wasn't. I ain't want to be regular. I ain't want no regular life. I didn't want no regular house. I didn't want no regular car. I didn't want no regular clothes. I didn't want no regular checking account. I just didn't want it. I wanted to have an exceptional home. I wanted to have an exceptional bank account. I wanted to travel exceptional places. Now, if you don't want that, it's perfectly fine. You can be really happy being ordinary. But if something's burning in you, you got to deal with it. If you don't deal with it, you're going to be disappointed, man. So being regular is cool. There's nothing wrong with it. You get a regular job, regular house, regular car. You get regular money. You have regular hours. You can dress regular. You just go to the family reunion, take your ass back home. You just travel regular. You go on vacation once a year. It's cool. Okay. You could get you a coach ticket, economy ticket, regular. You want to fly first class? You want to sit in the front of the plane? See, let me tell you something. You know what you ought to do? Save your money and buy a first class ticket. This is how you train yourself to be successful. Save your money, get an upgrade, buy a first class ticket. Because when you sit in first class, you're going to understand something. The seats are wider. You get a choice of meals, chicken, beef, or fish. You get a bowl of warm nuts. They give you a hot towel to wipe your hands. Why do you think when the plane take off, they close the curtain to first class? Because they can't let these regular people, they cannot let you see what the is going on up there. Because you're going to want it back there, but you didn't pay to get it. Hey, what are they doing? They're serving warm nuts. Where's our nuts? Wait a minute. They didn't get charged for the food. Their food was free. They didn't pay for the headsets. They're watching all the movies. Why don't we have that? Because you didn't pay for that. So they closed the curtain so they don't have to deal with your regular ass, wondering what's going on in first class. Once you buy a first class ticket, it becomes very difficult now for you to walk past those seats. Because now you're going to know what's going on. So when you treat yourself first class, you are conditioning your mind to now behave and do the things that produce first class results. So if you ever sit in first class, you'll never, coach is little tight ass chairs, you in the middle seat, you back there by the bathroom, the chair don't recline. It's horrible. First class, big seats. That's why Dick Gregory said, whenever you can treat yourself first class, you should, because it conditions the mind. Once you fly first class, you never go back. Once you get a private jet, you don't even want to fly first class no more, because you're on a private jet. You ain't got to take your shoes off at the airport. They ain't going to open your bag. Your car, pull around, they open the door, you walk up the steps. They take you right to where you're going. Then it's another car. When you walk down the steps, you don't even go baggage claim. They put your bag straight off the plane in the car. You don't go do none of that. You fly private, you'll never want to fly first class again, because you get conditioned. All you got to do is you can condition yourself. Once you buy a really nice dress, you don't want a cheap dress no more. You want another nice dress. Once you buy some Christian Louboutins with the red bottoms, you want all your shoes to have red bottoms on them. Because you know, men like that red on the bottom of their shoe. I don't know what it is, but when you walking away and we see that red bottom, I'm telling you, man, being successful is a mental condition. You can all mentally condition yourself to being successful. All you got is your mind. You in control of it.
Now there's two ways to face the future. One, with apprehension. Number two, with anticipation. Guess how most people face the future? With apprehension. Why? Major reason why. They don't have it well designed. They've left the design of their future to somebody else. And if you don't make plans of your own, guess what? You'll probably fall into someone else's plans. Guess what someone else may have planned for you? Not much. You got to make a list of this not much stuff. I'm telling you, people all their lives count on this not much list. If all of your negative relatives all turn positive, what'll that do for your future? Not much. If prices come down a little, what'll that do for your future? Not much. If the economy gets a little better, what'll that do for your future? Much. If circumstances get a little better, what'll that do? Not much. If the weather gets a little better over the next few years, that'll do. Not much. I mean, you could go right down this whole scenario list. Most people all their lives, with their fingers crossed, count on this not much list. That's why 10 years from now, they'll be driving what they don't want to drive, living where they don't want to live, wearing what they don't want to wear, doing what they don't want to do, having what they don't want to have, maybe become what they didn't want to become. And it all starts by counting on something that's not going to count much. You say, well, then how can my life dramatically change? You got to count on yourself. And here's one of the things you got to count on: your ability to design the future. It's called the promise. And the promise of the future, if you'll design it well, can have an awesome effect on your life. But if you face the future with apprehension, you'll take hesitant steps all day, uncertain steps all day. And if you take uncertain steps all day for 6 years, you can imagine how empty your life can be. We got to help our kids with the promise of the future. Now here's what's connected to the promise: the price. The price to pay. But I'm telling you, the price is easy if the promise is clear. One of the better notes to make for today. The price is easy if the promise is clear and powerful. But the price seems almost too much to pay, too much to get over, too much to accomplish if the promise isn't clear, if the promise isn't powerful. I'm telling you, kids will pay the disciplines if they can see the promise. One of our biggest challenges as parents in the 90s is to help our kids see the promise of the future. That's why I'm teaching financial independence. How to become wealthy and powerful and sophisticated and healthy and unique. All of the stuff kids would hope to go for. It's all possible. This is America. That's the promise of the future. The price? A few simple disciplines practiced every day. And I'm telling you, the kids will pay the price of the simple disciplines if they can see the promise of the future. But if they can't see, they don't want to pay. And the same is true of all. We will pay the most extraordinary distance we can see the promise of the future, called setting goals. So I'm asking you to get a handle on the future. I'm asking you not to leave it to anyone else. Don't leave it to the company. Companies got their own goals. I'm asking you to set your own goals, your personal goals. Income goals and financial goals and health goals and spiritual goals. And where do you want to go and what do you want to do and what do you want to see and what do you want to be? That's it. Promise of the future. Design your own future within your hands, your capacity. Here's how simple now goal setting. It's not mysterious. You don't have to anchor, you don't have to focus, you don't have to visualize. None of that. Here's how simple goal setting is. Changed my life. Decide what you want and write it down. I mean, that's how profound this stuff is. Decide what you want and write it down. Make a list. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to see? What do you want to be? What do you want to have? What do you want to share? What projects would you like to support? What would you like to be known for? What skills would you like to learn? Some extraordinary things you'd like to do? Ordinary things you'd like to do? Right? Silly little things you'd like to do? Very important things you'd like to do? Decide on all that stuff and write it down, write it down, write it down. That's how simple this stuff is. And it's your own private list. If it's really private, on your list, put some stuff in code where nobody can understand it if this list fell into unfriendly hands. And simple things, whatever. Foolish things, doesn't matter. It's your list. I had a little revenge on my first list. Budget finance, who used to harass me. I got 2 or 3 payments behind. This one guy called incessantly. Said, we're going to come get your car, drag it rear end up down the street in front of your neighbors. Put me down something fierce. When I met Shof, got my life straightened out, one of the first things on one of my lists was budget finance. And when I finally got the money, I needed a little drama in my life. Finally got the money to pay them off. I put it in small bills in a big briefcase. Walked into the budget finance office on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. The guy who harassed me so often, his desk was about 3 back. I opened the door, walked in, right up to his desk, stood right in front of him, never said a word. He said, well, what are you doing here? Didn't say a word. I opened up this briefcase, dumped this pile of money all over his desk. I said, count it. It's all there. I'll never be back. Turned around, walked out, slammed the door. Now that might not be noble, but you got to try it at least one time. Pay off with a little drama. Got to check them off my list. Keep your list with you. I keep my list in my journal so that I can go back 5 years ago. Here was my list. And I'm a little embarrassed. Here's what I thought was so important now. How my philosophy has changed from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago. Here's my old list. Here's my new list. Here's what's valuable to me now. Here's what I want my life to be now. Here's where I want to go, what I want to do, what I want to see. Keep your lists of goals so that it shows your growth, shows your ability to change and grow. Your philosophy grows and expands what's valuable. Setting goals. Doesn't matter how small, foolish it is. Put it on your list. My Japanese friend, Toro Ikeda, put on his first list, a Caucasian gardener. He wanted. Thought that was good. I like that. Have you got this profound thing now on setting goals? Here's how profound it is. Decide what you want. Write it down. Get together with your wife. Decide. Get together with your kids. Decide. Get together with your business colleagues. Decide. Write it down. Make a list. Okay, that's how easy it is. Now let me give you one more scenario on setting goals. When I started making my first list, Mr. Shof said, Mr. Rohn, looks like we're going to be together for a while. He said, I've got a suggestion for you. He said, I think one of the first goals you ought to set, you're a 25-year-old American male. Sure, you've made some mistakes, but now you're on the road to better things. You got a family, worth it. Reasons makes the difference. And he said, you've got every reason to do this. He said, why don't you, among all the goals you're going to set, he said, why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? A millionaire. This is America. All the possibilities are available. Why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? He said, it's got a nice ring to it. Million. Enough zeros to impress your accountant. And he said, here's why. Now I thought, the man doesn't need to teach me why. I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great to have $1 million? He said, no, that's not it. Here's why. And I had one of the greatest lessons I ever learned, and I'm about to share it with you. This will be worth the price of being here today if you can capture what I'm about to share with you. Babysitter fees, whatever else you pay. Some of you missed some sales today to be here, so this is a costly day for you. But what I'm about to share with you changed my whole life. Here's what Mr. Schultz said. Set a goal to become a millionaire. And he said, here's why. For what it will make of you to achieve it. And I got one of the greatest classes at one sentence I've ever received in my life. Set a goal that'll make you stretch that far. For what it will make of you to achieve it. What a brand new reason for setting goals. What an all-encompassing challenge to have a better vision of the future. What for? To see what it will make of you to achieve it. And here's why. The greatest value in life is not what you get. The greatest value in life is what you become. Major question to ask on the job is not, what am I getting here? That's not the major question. Major question to ask is, what am I becoming here? It's not what you get that makes you valuable, it's what you become that makes you valuable. So Schultz said, set a goal to become a millionaire. For what it will make of you to achieve it. Then he said, when you finally have become a millionaire, now, he said, what's important is not the money. I thought, wow, I've got some more to learn. He said, no, Mr. And I'm telling you honestly, you could just give the money away. Now, I did better than that, right? I told you. I lost it all. I'm rich by the time I'm 31. I'm a millionaire. I'm broke by the time I'm 33. So I didn't have to give it all away. I lost it all. Foolish mistakes I made. That I'm a farm boy from Idaho. That early money drove me bonkers. I used to say, how many colors does it come in? I'll buy them all. I went crazy over that first money. I just went crazy. And then I made that one foolish mistake, right? Continuing guarantee. I mean, I'm so naive off the farm. I don't know what continuing means. And a few other mistakes. And by the time I'm 33, I'm broke. Now I've made and lost millions since then. But what an experience that was. And I'm telling you, the man was right. When I finally was broke at age 33, guess what I discovered? My money did not mean that much. It represented only a fraction of all my assets. Schultz said, once you become a millionaire, Mr. Rohn, you can give all the money away. Because he says, what's important is not the money. What's important is the person you become. Now, let me give you the key phrase on setting goals. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve them. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve them. Always keep that in mind. What will this make of me? If I set this goal and go for it, not only will I achieve it, but what will it make of me in the process? What a whole new concept on setting goals. Now, there's two parts to this, and then we're wrapping up goals. Here's the first part now in this goal setting for what you become. Number one, don't set your goals too low. Interesting, we teach in leadership. You'll find it on the cassettes. Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations are high. Go where the demands are high. Go where the pressure's on to perform, to grow, to change, to develop, to read, to study, to develop skills. I belong to a small group. We do business around the world. You cannot believe the expectations at that level. What we expect of each other in terms of excellence, far beyond average. Why? So that we can each grow, so that we can receive from the group, we can contribute to the group, something unprecedented. It's called living at the summit. Go where the demands are high, go where the expectations are strong, so that it'll provoke you, push you, urgently insist that you not remain the same for the next couple of years, the next 5 years, that you'll grow and change. So don't set your goals too low.
I have a dream. The 4 greatest words that this country has ever heard or seen. Because a man with a dream is unstoppable. A man with a dream can go to destinations that nobody has ever seen. A man with a dream can reach a star that no one has even come close to reach. Because a man with a dream is unstoppable, and the dream is his destination, and the fuel is his passion, and his skills, and his abilities, and his gifts, and his talents is his vehicle to get to the destination of the dream. And so the only thing left for a man to get to that place that nobody would believe for him to get is just a little bit of faith. Because a little bit of faith mixed with a big dream produces something that can change the course of history, that can change the course of humanity. You see, it's so important for one to find their dream. And many people know that, but not many people can find it. Because the thing is this, a dream finds you. A dream finds you. A dream finds you when you get to the place that you know that every place that you have been and where you're at right now, and the way that your mind works as it is now is still not quite where it needs to be. So you see, the thing that you need is growth, 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 growth in your mindset, growth in your emotions, growth in your self-control, growth in every single response and your responsibility, your ability to respond to every suffering and every pain and every struggle and every single step that takes some sort of added effort, added discipline, added passion, added fire to keep going, to find your stride, to find your rhythm, to find your breath, and to find your dream. I have a dream. 4 words in the heart of every man, woman, and child. And that's why freedom rings in that dream.
When you know within yourself that there's something you want to do, and I believe that all of us were born with a purpose, that all of us have something that we are supposed to do, that all of us have some goodness within us, and that goodness gives us a responsibility to manifest our greatness. And when you know that, you can feel it in your guts, and you know that you're deliberately operating below your potential. You've gotten comfortable. You stop expanding, you stop stretching, you stop challenging yourself. Let me share something else with you. Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, but it's necessary. It's necessary that you have it, that you work on it, that you develop yourself, that you go for what is yours in the universe. You decide, I'm not going to settle for this. This is not going to be it for my life. I deserve more than this. See, that will start making you do some stuff. See, a lot of people go to work every day miserable, and all they do is just talk about how miserable they are. But they don't do anything about it. You must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. It's possible that we can have our dream. Yes, it is. Other people have done it, then we can do it. We fail a lot of times. Well, a lot of other folks fail. That 18-mile wall, then you know it's like done and you're on automatic and you glide on in. And you know it's there. You know you're going to get to the finish line. And we've all had experiences where we were working on something And we knew it was possible. And we did those things that were necessary to bring it into reality. We took the responsibility to make it happen. Other people couldn't see it. A lot of people didn't believe it. You were attacked. You were criticized. People were opposing you. But you kept on doing it. It was hard. It was rough. It was difficult. But to you, it was worth it. And eventually you got to a level you know, can nothing stop me now. I'm on the move. I'm on the move.
As Kurt Vonnegut, one of the greatest authors in modern times, said, "When I write, I feel like an armless, legless man with a crayon in his mouth." But he still did it. And that's the kind of thing that you're going to hear from the greats. You're not going to hear that it was easy. You're not going to hear that they felt suave and cool. Even the greatest of all time have that awkwardness and that clumsiness. They're never quite as good as they want to be. But what I want you to understand is even though Kurt Vonnegut said those words, he wrote tons of books that changed people's lives, that changed the landscape of literature, because despite the fact that he felt awkward and clumsy, he kept doing it and forcing himself to move forward, to take one step after another, even when the process was not exactly rewarding. He believed in something. He knew that what he was trying to do would ultimately get better. He knew that if he wanted to accomplish something great, that he had to push through the awkwardness. And that is the very trick to getting great. You just have to do it. You have to go. You have to take that first step. You have to push. You have to drive. You have to strive every time to get a little bit better. You have to strive not to fall prey to your own doubts and insecurities. And as Joe Namath said, if you aren't going all the way, why go at all? But it's doing that in face of the fear. It's doing that in face of the difficulties. It isn't only because someone is great that they say you should either do it all the way to play hard or go home. They're not saying it because the process is in and of itself rewarding. They're saying it because there is something that they're trying to accomplish that demands it, that they're prepared to play on a world stage. And once you know why you're doing what you're doing, once something sits at the core of your being, and despite how difficult, painful, awkward it may be to push forward, you push forward no matter what the odds. And as Hannibal said, one of the greatest military leaders of all time, I will either find a way or I'll make one. And he said that as he was getting elephants across the Alps. Now, when you think of the difficulties that you face in trying to do what you're trying to accomplish, think about that man amassing an army and getting elephants to climb a mountain. And saying not, this is impossible, but rather, if there's not already a way present, I will make one. And when you can look at that, when you can look at your own inadequacies, when you can accept that you are not yet good enough, but you know that you'll put in the work to get there, you know that you'll learn the things that you need to learn, that you will push and you will practice and you will shape yourself into someone capable of doing it. And you have to literally carve your own path out of the stone granite of a mountainside. You will do that because that's what your goals demand. And when you're prepared to do whatever your goals demand, you will accomplish whatever you set your mind to. As T.E. Lawrence said, all men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake in the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act on their dreams with open eyes to make them possible. That, at the end of the day, is the very mission of my life, to get people to understand that there is a difference between dreaming and executing, about doing something based on the things that you want to see happen in the world. But most people hit that moment of action and they stop. But they don't stop knowingly. They stop for 1,000 different reasons that they're never able to put their finger on. They stop because they're tired. They stop because circumstance dictates. They stop because they don't have enough money. They stop because they're too young. They stop because they're too old. They stop for a whole host of reasons that at the end of the day are total bullshit. The thing that stops them is fear. The thing that stops them is a belief that they don't even know they have, that says that they're never going to accomplish. They stop because they can't muster the belief in themselves
to move forward, to believe that their actions will have the consequences that they want, to believe that they can learn the things that they don't already understand, to believe in themselves that their actions will generate a reward. And that reward is very simple, that you can close your eyes and imagine the world that you want to create and open them and create it. And some people are stopped by something even more dangerous. They dream too small. And as David Ogilvy said, don't bunt. Aim out of the ballpark. Aim for the company of immortals. When you can do that, when you can allow yourself to dream at that level, when you can allow yourself to believe in yourself, to believe in your ability to become the kind of person that can swing for the fences, not only swing for the fences, but make contact. To be able to call your shot like Babe Ruth and knock it out of the park. When you can look at yourself and have the arrogance of belief in yourself that you are capable of that you are worthy of being remembered, that you are worthy of people knowing your name, then you will strike out and have a chance at greatness. But it starts with that. It starts with being willing to believe that all the people, the wall of humanity that stands behind you in the past, none of them have anything that you don't. And the only difference between the greats, the only difference between those who are remembered and those who are forgotten, is the willingness to step up to the plate and call their shot.
Dream. That's a powerful word. You'll get knocked down many times chasing your dreams. You will feel like you don't have the energy to get back up. You don't have the strength to get back up. You will feel like giving up is the only option. When you're hit, when you've been knocked down by life, that's when it's time to hit back. That's when it's time to hit back. Many people get hit by life, but they never hit back.
Are you going to stay down, or are you going to decide to get back up? It takes courage. It takes confidence. It takes a strong mindset to get back up when nobody believes in you.
There's a lion inside all of us, but some people decide to never let that lion out. Many people keep that lion locked in his cage. Are you hungry for that dream? Are you willing to fight for that dream?
Let the lion out. Get hungry for your dream. Go hunt your dream. Talking about that dream won't take you far. Working will.
Doubters will tell you to be realistic. Haters will tell you to quit.
You are the only one who can go and get it. It's your dream. No one will chase it for you. No one will hunt for you. No one will support your dream but you.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.